Hi, my name is Sage Lewis, and today we are going to do a WordPress Network installation, and this is the documentation on how to create a network here. We're going to go through that. The things that we're going to do, we're going to set up the network, we're going to do multi-user domain mapping, and then we're going to install some sweet plugins that I think would be good for that. So this is just going to be a guide through that process. So the site that we're going to be using is at the domain sagerockplaces.com, and you can see here that it's empty, so there's nothing there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm in my cPanel here. I'll show you if this really isn't a video on how to install WordPress. If you I'm going to do this part really quickly. But there are plenty of how to install WordPress tutorials out there. This is focused primarily on the network install, and so in this case I'm going to use my quick install feature here in my control panel. Maybe you have something like Fantastico or something like that. I used to never use these, incidentally, but now I use them all the time, and so they just save me so much time. I don't have to tie together my databases and all that sort of thing. I basically just push these little buttons here, and and so in this case I'm going to install it in the root, and I'm pretty sure that the network installation of WordPress has to be installed at the root level of your site. So otherwise your domain mapping and that sort of thing doesn't work. So here we go. So I'm just going to name it this, and what's going to happen is it's going to go over and it's going to install this. So it just downloads the thing here for me. If you've never used these, they are super easy, and so now we can see here. So this is it. So now we have an installation of WordPress. And in this case, in this quick install thing, what it does is it sends me an email of how to it gives me a password. So what we do here is, to get into WordPress, it's typically at your domain name /wp-admin, and then so they're going to give me an admin username. The username in this case is admin, and the password is this long one that they gave me. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go change that because it's a very secure password, but it's incredibly difficult to remember. So I go into users over here on the left, and I go to admin, and I just go down here, and I'm going to change my password to something more memorable. It's it's medium strength. It's not weak, it's not strong, but it's got some non-alphanumeric characters in it, right? So that's pretty good. And so now there is that. So now we have a running version of WordPress, okay? And so pretty easy, right? And so now what we're going to do is we are going to, so we can see it again here. This is it. It comes with the standard template here, and we'll talk about templates in a little bit. But at any rate, the next thing we want to do is we want to start installing the network stuff. And what I've done here is I've created a delicious bookmark set for WordPress Multi. And who knows if Delicious is going to be around, but if it is, then you can get this, and these links will be in the description of the video on YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through these, and we'll just move through them here. So let me tell you this: there is a plugin that installs WordPress Network, and it's this one right here. I've linked to it in my in my delicious bookmarks here, it's enable multi-site, and I couldn't make this work. This saved some time, but actually it didn't save any time because I had to reinstall. I didn't know what it was doing. You know, the behind the scenes stuff, I wasn't sure if it set up my htaccess right or whatnot. So I don't personally recommend this. It does, you know, if it works for you, then great, you've saved probably 10 minutes. But if it doesn't work for you, you've probably lost 10 minutes. So for what it's worth, that's that. I like to just do it old school by hand here, and this gives you a bunch of background information, and it talks about server requirements. Something you're going to have to decide is if you use subdomains or subdirectories, you have to decide this up front. I'm going to use subdirectories simply because subdomains require wildcards on my server, and while I've set those up, it's just an added thing that I don't really want to mess with. So we're not going to cover the subdomain installation here. We're going to be using the subdirectory installation. And so here, but it talks all about subdomain sites and how to set those up and that sort of thing. So we're going to go down here. We're going to, you know, step one is back up your WordPress. So we're using a fresh install. So I'm not going to back it up if I mess it up. It's just the way it is. And then here, setting up wildcards in the subdomain. This is that. And just briefly, if you're in cPanel and you have DNS access information, I'll show you that here. You can play with that in your DNS records, and so I'll let that spin for a while here. I don't know why it's taking long. Let me try it again. Let's see here. So yeah, I'll let that go. But at any rate, in your DNS information, you can access that, and we'll come back to that. And then it talks about Plesk. Plesk is also a very common thing. So here we go. So now you can see you would control that in the advanced DNS zone editor, or even the simple DNS zone editor. You could add wildcards in there. That's this right up here in the domains. You might not have this access information installed by default in your cPanel or Plesk. If not, then they talk about how, you know, you might need to talk to your hosting provider about this, but this is all again for subdomain setup, and I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to go straight to you know, the subdirectory setup. So allow multi-site. So this is where all the fun begins. So now right here in step 3. So to enable the network menu, you must first define multi-site in the wp-config.php file. And so you have to open up your wp-config file, and for that you're going to have to download this onto your computer. And I'm using, in this case, FileZilla. I like FileZilla because it's free, and I'm all about free. And but it's also very good. So now what I've just created a folder called SageRock Places. Here, I'm a little off screen here. Sorry about that. So here it is, and now over here I have connected into SageRock Places in my FTP, and I'm going to go to public.html or public_HTML. That's where my stuff is, and you'll see down here that wp-config is right here. So I'm going to drag that over here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up in some sort of editor. So I'm going to find it here, SageRock Places. In this case, I'm going to use, I think, HomeSite, HomeSite. Okay. And so this is where people, I think, they're, you know, especially if you used your, you know, if you used the auto install feature and you haven't been in your WP config, you start freaking out because you're like, oh my gosh, what does all this mean? You don't really need to know anything about PHP. You just have to follow these instructions. So it says here, open up wp-config.php and add this line above where it says, that's all, stop editing, happy blogging, okay? And so you come over here, and you come down and you find that, and it's near the end somewhere. So let's see. Okay, so you see it? It's right here. So we're going to put it right here, all right? So that goes there. And again, backing up is a great idea. If you make a mistake, you can just go back. But since this is a fresh install, if I screw it up, I'll just blow it up and start over. All right, so I'm going to do that. And so to enable network, you put that now. Now it says step 4, this will enable the network menu item to appear on the tools menu. Okay, and so what's going to happen is I'm going to now take my WP config file that I've just edited, and I'm going to drag it back to my server. All right, and you'll see it's a little bit bigger. All right. Okay, so now we want to go back into the administration area of our site. Let's see if I can find that. Problem with this, all these windows. I know I had it open, right? Okay, so here, so now I'm going to go into this area, and they don't have administration anymore, you know, so it said go into administration tools network. There isn't that anymore. It's just tools, but you can see here it's in tools and then network. And so this is interesting. I wanted to show you this. I think this is maybe one of the problems I ran into with the automatic installation of WordPress Network, that plugin. They want you to deactivate your plugins, and this installation came with a W3 Total Cache plugin, which is a great plugin, but you have to deactivate it before you can go further. So I feel that that is useful by doing this by hand. So now, if you go to network, you can see here now it has a whole bunch of information here. It says welcome to the network installation process. Fill in the information below, and you'll be on your way to creating a network of WordPress sites. It'll create configuration files. So, and then it says, please make sure that Apache mod rewrite module is installed, as it will be used in the end of this installation. If mod rewrite is disabled, ask your administrator module to enable that module. Mine is already installed. A lot of standard hosting environments have mod rewrite installed, but you have to make sure that it's installed. And then you get here addresses of the site. Please choose whether you would like your site and your WordPress network to use subdomain or subdirectories. You cannot change this later. So, and it says again here, it says you'll need wildcard DNS record if you're going to use the virtual host subdomain. And I think that we're going to do domain mapping, and I believe maybe earlier on domain mapping wasn't possible with the subdirectory, and that was the benefit of doing the subdomain. But that's not the case here. We'll set up domain mapping with subdirectories. And from a search engine perspective, I'm not sure which is better. They both are, I think, fine. Whichever you want to do. I believe that subdirectories is just easier. So here it says server address. The internet address of your network will be this. So here we go. Make sure you click the key here is subdomains or subdirectories. I'm going to do subdirectories, and I'm going to click install. Okay, and now we get to this page, and this is important stuff. So again, it says we recommend that you back up your existing WP config file or htaccess file. Now, here is again where some things get a little tricky, okay? So we need to create a directory called blogs.dir in the home sr places public.html. It's in the WP content file, so we're going to do that right now. So you're in public.html, and we need to go to WP content, and we're going to create a directory, and I believe it has to be writable. Let me double check that. Yeah, so the directory is used to store uploaded media for your additional sites, like pictures and music if you want to allow them. It must be writable by the web server. So I'm going to do, I'm going to change the permissions on this to file permissions. Here I'm going to change it to 755. So that gives the owner permissions, read, write, execute. If that doesn't work, then you might try 777, which gives complete access, but that's very insecure. So, it's going to probably depend on your server, but start with 755, and then you can test it when you set up a site. Try uploading email or pictures or something to it, and if it does, if it works, then you're great. So 755 is probably good for that. Okay, so we've done that. Now 2, add the following to your WP config. That's that file we were just in. Above the line reading, that's all, stop editing. Remember we were just there? Now, what's cool is they don't tell you this in this here, but I read this somewhere else. I'm going to leave the WP allow multi-site line here. I believe they say it over here in the create, this thing right here. This guides you through all of this. So they tell you down here, it says remove the earlier place define WP allow multi-site line only if you wish to remove the network menu from the admin area. You may choose to leave this to be able to access the HT access rules again. So that's handy for me, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this line here, okay? And then I pasted what they gave me here. And it's important to paste what was given to you in your installation process here, because it has stuff specific to your server. You don't want to just steal this off of the web somewhere. So you take that, all right, we'll save that. And then now we get to our htaccess file, and it says add the following to your htaccess. So what we need to do is we need to go back to that, and htaccess is in your public underscore HTML file here. So it's right here, all right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it in home site. Home site sometimes doesn't like me opening this. It's like, oh, do you know? I don't know anything. I don't know an extension called htaccess. And so that's the tricky thing about it is htaccess. htaccess is the extension. It's the file type. There is nothing before the dot. Okay, so it gives me this whole big problem. I just open it. Like you've never seen an htaccess file. It's so crazy. So at any rate, what we want to do in my case, yours is going to probably look a little bit different than this. This one comes in default on my server as rewrite engine off. I want to delete that. Yours maybe won't have that. You might not even have an htaccess file, and if not, you can create one in Notepad or something like that. The important part to know is that htaccess, it's .htaccess. It's not htaccess.txt or anything like that. It's important to know that that's the file type, .htaccess, with nothing before the dot. So the other thing is some FTP programs will not show hidden files. I was using Qt FTP at one point in my career, and I couldn't find the htaccess file forever. And then I found out that for my pleasure, they were hiding files they didn't want me to see. I almost blew a gasket. I mean, it was what are they hiding stuff from me for? So at any rate, FileZilla doesn't hide stuff. So back at it. Okay, so here it is. Add the following to your htaccess. So you can see here it has rewrite engine on. And so, oops, I missed a little bit of that. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put it, I'll put it here, I guess. I'm going to leave the other thing here. I don't even know what this part of it is. I'm not sure. but I'm just going to leave it because that was on my server, and I'm just going to put what they wanted me to put right here. And again, it's specific to your server, I believe. It doesn't look that specific, but whatever. Take what's in the install. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to go back and read my instructions. Add the following. Once you complete these steps, your network is enabled, and then you have to log back in. So now I'm going to upload these. This is always where things get exciting. So here, let me pull this over a little bit. So on the left-hand side is the htaccess that I edited. I'm going to put it right over here. Okay. And then you can see in the same folder, in that public_HTML, because that's where I installed WordPress, the WP config is there as well. So I'm going to install that. So I upload that rather. So there they are. And so this is the true test. So I've added this content here, and I'm going to now, it requires me to log back in. Okay, and this is handy. This is why I changed my password before, because I don't I'll be able to log in quite easily. So here we'll go. It's just like that. Everything goes slow when you want it to go fast. Okay, so here it is. So now I'm at the login page. I'm going to add my put in my new password that I had. Okay. It's a good time for a sip of tea. Okay. So, look at there, everybody. Super admin. Do you see the difference? Do you see that? Okay. That means we're on the right path. Woo. Okay. Now, let's go back here to read our instructions on the Create a Network page. So here, and so there it is. So once the above steps are completed, the new WP config and HTTP files are saved, your network is enabled and configured, you'll have to log in again. Click login to refresh your administration panel. If you have problems logging back in, please clear your browser, cache, all that. Super admin settings. Now you will now see a new menu called Super Admin. See, we see it, don't we? I'll get there. There it is. Super Admin. It's always so exciting. If you've gotten this far, you're doing fantastic. The menu contained in there are for adding and managing additional sites in your network. Your base WordPress install is now the main site of your network. So we want to do go Super Admin option panels to configure network options, and then create sites and users. Okay, so let's go find that. So that's this options thing here. All right, and you can see here the network name, email, dashboard site. New users are added to this site and whatnot. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip, and one of my steps was do some sweet plugins. So one of the plugins that I want to use is okay, check it out. So let's go back here to my these are again my delicious links. So there's a great article in here, what to do or consider after you enable multi-site. And so I'm going to load this, and there's a cool plugin here, but it's I recommend reading this. He has some great ideas here, but I'm going to skip right down here. New blog defaults. So give your users a leg up on getting started by providing only the options they need. So this is really pretty cool, but I want to show you this now because this is not your standard install. So like if you're a savvy, if you're really into WordPress, you might go to plugins and then you go to add new. I do this all the time. So and then you can install plugins right from here, which is totally awesome, right? But you can't do that with this one, because if you go here, it says place the sets blog defaults file in the WP content /moo plugins folder. Now, check it out. Over here, you don't have, let me go there. You don't have a Moo plugins folder. This plugins folder is for making a plugin site-wide, okay? So we want to create that. And so what we're going to do here is we're just going to create, I want to double check that's where it goes. It goes in WP content, yeah. And that's the folder that we're in. And so we're going to create that, and we're going to make this Moo plugins folder here. Okay, and so there it is. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of using any kind of fancy anything, I'm going to just download this all old school, right? So I'm just going to download it off the plugins folder here. You know, I intentionally restarted my computer so this would be faster. You know, you would think, I don't know what I got, 8 gigs of memory on this thing. You would think that would be enough, but no. It's never enough. So at any rate, extract all. So this is it. I use the extractor that comes with Windows here. It works good. Okay. And so now you can see the extracted files. And there's a README here, which I've never read because I don't know. I mean, what's the fun in reading, right? When you can bust something without reading. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sets_blog_defaults and I'm going to put it in my Moo plugins. That's multi-user. I don't know if you call it Moo or whatnot, but Moo is cute. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drag it from this folder over here. Okay? And there it is. Now, check it. Let's go back and find my thing. I'm going to just refresh this. Or wait, maybe I'll go to admin. It might already be there. Okay, and now you can see, look at there. New blog defaults. I really like this. So you can set up a default title for the user, but you have to say, I understand this will overwrite the user's chosen blog name, so I don't do that. Then you can change the tagline. So I might do something like, I think that's cute, just another weblog, but I do something else like your destination to our business. So that's not ideal, but I should say the reason I'm doing this is I want to create this network environment for clients to give them blog access, and I'm going to ultimately tie it into a subdomain on their site. So, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So, but at any rate, that gets them started. But they can change that, and I'm just going to leave a lot of this stuff here. You can look at all this if you want. One thing I am going to change is this is customized permalink structure. I'm going to change this to month and name, just because day and name gets kind of long, and I don't think my clients are going to be writing daily. So I'm just going to do month and name, and then you've got media. You can set the default theme, and maybe I'll do that. I'll come back to do that. So at any rate, I'm going to just keep everything default, except that one thing, permalinks for me. I'm going to do. And so that is that. And so now what you need to know is that I'm gonna install a couple. I'm gonna do another theme. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Appearance, and so the current theme is 2010, but I have another theme that I like, and this. I use the installation process in here, so I'm going to go to Featured. And the one I'm going to install is, let's see here. I'm going to use this Lightword. Okay. Now, what would be really cool is, like, say you are doing this, you're doing this for maybe your franchises or distributors or clients or whatnot, you could invest in a premium theme and then give it to them, and that, you know, that then they would have access to a really, really great theme. This is a good theme, but here, so check this out. It says, administrator, new themes must be activated in the network themes screen before they appear here. You can see that over on the left, but they give you this this little thingy bobber here. So you can see that 2010 was enabled for the network, but I'm going to make Lightword enabled as well. Okay, so now there's that. Now what I'm going to do is, I like Lightword a little bit better, I think, than 2010. So I'm going to go back to new blog defaults, and I'm going to go down in here, and I'm going to change the default theme to Lightword. Okay. So now, when somebody sets up a blog, that's the theme that they're going to get. So also, I want to show you this warning. The current theme supports featured images. You must enable image uploads on the options page for this to work. Don't they think of everything? So options, again, you can get there from the left-hand side, or you can use that little thingy bobber. So while I'm in here, though, I'm going to change registration settings, allow new registration. Registration can be completely disabled, meaning you would set up sites and user accounts for your users. So then the next one is user accounts may be registered, that you'll get some spam on that. Let me tell you this, if you click both sites and user accounts can be registered, just resign yourself to monitoring spam the rest of your life. It's the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life. These people sniff this out, that you can sign up for user accounts and sites, and they will just spam you to infinity. It's unbelievable. So I don't recommend that. But I do like this. Logged in users may register new sites. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give people user accounts, and then they can go in and add multiple sites. But we were here because we wanted, it said that the theme required uploading of images, and it says media upload buttons, and you can allow people to upload images, video, and music. I'm going in this case to do images, and total limit size of limit total size of files uploaded to 10. I'm going to maybe just do 20. All right. And then max upload file size, 1,500. That's probably good enough. But if it's not, if you're doing video, they're going to need much more than that. But at any rate, then this, enable administration menus, meaning plugins. Can they see plugins? And I don't know. I'm going to leave that unchecked right now. I don't know if I really want them adding plugins, you know, because this is a network. If they you know, it could break, right? And so that, you know, that would stink. So now for everybody. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new user, and I'm just going to call it Sage Lewis. Okay, and you have to use, you know, for a test, this wouldn't, you know, this is just a test. I'm using another email address I have, so Sage Lewis, sagey@sagerock.com. My mom used to call me Sagey. So at any rate, she still sometimes does. In fact, I got a Christmas gift on it. It said Sagey-kins, actually. So at any rate, let me go find that. I'm going to go over here. And what's going to happen is, I'll show you here, any kind of luck. That should be sent to me. Okay, hold on. Everything is a little slow today, a little slow, you know? Okay, let me try it again there. Okay. All right. Well, what normally happens and what will happen is it gets sent to you as an email. That user will get sent an email, and you'll also get notification of it as well as the administrator. But my email is a little bit slow. So what I'm going to do is it gives you a password, but I'm going to put a password in. Okay. Let's see. Isn't that funny how things just, you know. At any rate, okay, so there is that. So now what will happen is if I log out, I can log in as my new user, Sage Lewis, enter my new password, okay? And what you're going to do here is you're going to see a different environment. So here, this is the same place, but now this is what, this is what a user would see, okay? So this is what they would see here, and if you click on Dashboard, you can see My Sites. And by default, they're added to as a subscriber to the primary site here, but I'm going to create a new site over here. I really wanted to show you that email. It's so weird. It's okay. Yeah, you can see everything is just super duper slow. I think it's me pounding on the server. It's just tired of me. I've installed this thing like 3 times. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this video. Okay, so now you can see actually this is the new theme here. And so I'm going to make a site name and I'll call it Sage Test because I'm not very creative. And I'll just call it title Sage's Test Site. I don't know if I can put an apostrophe in there or not. We'll see. So it says allow my site to appear in the search engines. It's defaulted to yes. So you click here. All right. So now what happens is I can go to the login. And so now it's letting me log in. You'll notice it's taking me now to sagerockplaces.com/sagetest. All right. And if I go to a new browser here you can see this is Sage's test site. Okay, very cool, right? So now WordPress Network is set up. It's working. And this is, you can give people this information and they can, go to town. They can have super fun. They can go crazy. So at any rate, now let me go back here. I think I just have so many windows. Okay, so you can give them this URL, for example. You can give them, Sage Rock Places, the main URL, sagerockplaces.com/wpadmin, and they can log in and then go to My Sites here, or they can go directly to, Sage Test/wp-admin, and then that'll take them directly to this page. Both work, okay? And so, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install some plugins really quickly here, all right? And I'm going to go back to sagerockplaces.com/wp-admin. And I'm going to go back as the administrator. And I want to show you some plugins. So there's some great ones that I really like. And so what I want you to see here is in a plugin, this is Akismet. I think that's how you pronounce it, Akismet? I don't know. But at any rate, it's a great tool for blocking spam. And you can activate it or you can network activate it. And network activating it means that it goes on all of the sites that are in the network. And any plugin that you want people to have, you want to network activate it. And so I'm going to do that. And so it's going to go out and it's going to network activate. I'm going to go, okay. All right, so finally. So indeed, finally that email did come over. So, it came to me and said, hey, here's your new username and password. But again, everything's just slow. But at any rate, this is another great plugin, W3 Total Cache. It makes things load really fast, but you cannot network activate it. I don't know why, but you can't. So, but you can activate it, which means that an end user can see it and activate it on their own. But the Akismet, for example, is already activated, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, I like to go to the popular plugins, and, you know, because whatever, they're popular. And so WP DB backup, I love this. So I'm going to install this, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to activate them. It says, you know, it takes you to this window. Do you want to activate or network activate or whatever? I'm just going to install a bunch of them. All-in-one SEO pack. I like this one. I'm going to install this. Okay. I'm just using my back button. Contact Form 7, install now. Okay. And then I'm going to do one more. I'm just going to do Google Analytics because I think that's really good. And oh, add to any. This is a good one. Okay, I'll do that. Add to any. So any of these popular ones I think are good because, you know, they're popular. If these people all like them. Oh, this WP Touch, this is great because this will transform your blog into something that's readable on an iPad or something. Okay, so that's good. Let's see. Let me find one last one here. Google Analytics for WordPress. I'm going to install that one. I like that. Okay. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my plugin installer. Wait, I'm going to just go to plugins here. And I'm going to select inactive plugins because these are plugins that I have not activated. And I'm going to network activate, I think, all of these except Hello Dolly. I never, and not the database backup. I'm going to do the database backup myself. I'm not going to give that to them, but I'm going to give them all these other ones. So then I'm going to do bulk action. I'm going to do network activate. And so now all these are here. And I think what you have to do is you have to go to update, and you want to update the network so it updates all that stuff. Okay? So there's that. Now watch this. So now I'm going to log out, and I'm going to go and log in as my user I created. I'm going to go to my dashboard. I'm going to go to my sites. And then I'm going to go to the dashboard of this. And, okay, hold on. So you saw maybe a quick flash of something. There was a database being created there, and so it gave kind of a quick error, but it instantly resolved itself. So you can see here now that these, there's no plugins menu over here, but if you go to settings, all the plugins that have been created are now available over here. So contact is my form thing, all-in-one SEO, all this stuff here. Then SEO Pack. So you have to go, you have to go to this and activate this, And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide people through this. I'm going to do like a webinar on how to do all of this. But then you can see Google Analytics is not active. You must select which analytics profile track. So so there is that in there as well. I might actually, I haven't decided, but so that one, for example, which analytics profile track, that doesn't seem to be working quite without showing the users the plugin. So I'm probably going to go back and turn that on. So I'll show you that real quick. And I'm going to do one last thing. We're going to install domain mapping. That's, I want to save the best for last. Okay. So here we go up to options. And now again, I'm in the admin. I'm going to go down here, and I think I'm going to enable administration menus, plugins, and just tell people like, please be careful. And we'll see. But at any rate, so there is that. So now, we're running this, and you can see here you have this cool thing here, you can click on sites, you can see the sites, you can click on users, you can see what users you have and what sites they have and that sort of thing. So there's all of that. But now what we want to do is, the last thing is we want to do, I'm going to close some of these windows. This is the domain mapping feature here. And again, this one requires some special setup. You can't just go and install this like with an auto install. You need to download it because things are going to go in specific places, okay? So, okay, so there's the domain mapping thing here, okay? And what you need to know is there's 3 steps to this. You have to move the Sunrise PHP file to the WP content area. So we'll do that. So I have my handy dandy thing here. And so here's Sunrise. And they go on to say that if you already have Sunrise, you're going to just have to mash them together. I've never done that, so I never have had Sunrise. Hold on, figures. I need to, I think, extract that. Hold on, let's see here. Domain mapping. Sorry, I need to extract that first. Okay. Okay, let me close this. All right, so Sunrise goes in WP content. Okay, so there you can see that. And then in WordPress 3.0, if WP content move plugins folder doesn't exist, create it. So we created that, remember? It's right here. It's that. Then we want to move the file domain mapping.php to that file. Okay, and that is right here. Move plugins, domain mapping. See there? Here we go. Okay, so you can see that sets blog defaults is in there, and now domain mapping is in there. These are the only 2 I've ever used this for, but supposedly if you want things to just be on by default, you can put them in here, but I'm not sure that you know, they can configure settings in there. So I don't know. I haven't gone any further than that. Okay. Then there's one last thing. Edit the WP config and uncomment or add the Sunrise definition line. If it does not exist, please ensure that it's on the line above the last require once. And it's this right here. So you can see here we still have our WP config. And if we go down here, the require once is the last line on mine. And I'm going to just put it above this comment here. So I'm going to save this. All right. And then this is the last thing I'm going to do that could potentially just ruin my entire site. Okay. So I'm going to take WP config. And again, I would have backed this up if I wasn't like feeling like I was on a cooking show. Okay. And then make sure the default virtual host, okay, we'll go on that. And that says, do not find cookie domain in your WP config. It conflicts with logins or your map domains. So, and then down below, it gives a link to this, this more in-depth thing, auto on WordPress. And this is really good too. I have a link to this as well in that Delicious account. So there's that. Let's see here. And then with any kind of luck, I'm going to click. Okay, so now we can see here. Wait a second. I want to go back to the top. WP admin. So I'm logged in as an admin here, and you can see now I have domain mapping. Okay. Now let's go in here real quick and show you what's going on. This is the server IP address. You have 2 ways of telling people how to do this. Server IP or CNAME, okay? This was the thing that hung me up the most. And the way I fixed it was I'm on a virtual host with this SageRock Places, and I got a dynamic or a static IP address for it. and that solved all of my problems. If you don't have a static IP address, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't get it to work with a dynamic IP. It says if you use round-robin DNS or other load balancing techniques, you can put multiple IP addresses. So I guess if you knew all the IP addresses possibilities, you could put it in there, but it cost me $1 a month to get a static IP, and I just think it's so worth it. So what I'm going to do here is, if I don't know my static IP, you can ping it with the command line. All right, so you just go ping, SageRockPlaces.com. Okay, and so that's my IP right there, 74.52.18.14. Okay, and I'm going to put it in here. I don't know that it actually matters that it's in here, but this is the information. You can see I've already got that. This is the information that will be given to users. Now, check this out. Remote login, permanent redirect, user domain mapping, redirect. So this auto guy goes through each of these nicely. He does a good explanation of these, and you might want to read through them. For my personal thing, I use permanent redirect, so it permanently redirects your sub site, so like SageRockPlaces.com/SageTest or whatever we had. It permanently redirects it to a new domain, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I like that. And then user domain mapping page, we give them that. But I don't necessarily like this redirect administration page to the site's original domain. I'm not in, I think that's right, we'll see here. Because if they mess it up, if they mess up their domain mapping, it looks like their site has been obliterated from the universe. So personally, these are the ones I think I like. We'll see about that number 4. Sorry, I'm not showing you that. See here. So the number 4, redirect administration page to the site's original domain. I'm going to set it up like this: permalink redirect and user domain mapping page. And I think I'm going to leave 4 unchecked, but that auto, he has that checked. Okay. So I'm going to click save. All right. And so now what I'm going to do is, there's 2 ways that you can do this. As the administrator, you can add a new domain for your user, but you have to know the site ID. And the way you get the site ID is you go to Sites and you hover over this. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but down in the address bar, the little thing, it shows me, hold on, maybe if I pull this up a little. Now you can't see that for some reason, but it shows me down in the little bar, it says ID equals 2, okay? So what I could do is I could say, all right, site ID equals 2, that's my Sage test, is going to go to, I'm going to do Sage test dot, I'm going to do a subdomain of my main site, sagerock.com, so I could do it like that, all right? So you could go that route. But something that's easier is if you go in as the user, the end user. So go to Sage Lewis. And because I was at the top level here, I have to go to Dashboard. And then I have to go to My Sites. And then I'm going to go to the dashboard of Sage's test site here. And if you go down, I think it's in Tools. Yeah. If you go into Tools, you can see domain mapping. And so you can have them do it. And then this is cool because it says down here at the last line, it says, if you want to redirect a domain, you will need to add a DNS record pointing to the IP address of the server, which is that IP. So what we're going to do here is, it says if your domain name includes a host name like www or blog or some other prefix before the actual domain name, you will need to add a CNAME for that host name in your DNS pointing, okay? So that's like another issue here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my cPanel for SageRock.com, okay? And I'm going to go to my advanced zone editor. And my advanced DNS zone editor, that is. And I'm going to go to that site. And you'll see here that I have a bunch of different things here. And I've created a couple of these already. I'm going to delete them. When I created the site before I created these, but I'll delete this. And you can see what's happening here. It's the subdomain in this one, def.sagerock.com, then 14400. That's an integer that they all have. I don't really know that number, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is. And then in an A record. A records point to IP addresses. C names point to words, domains, okay? So I'm going to delete this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, what? May only delete, what did I do? Sorry. Delete. I don't understand. You may only delete an A. Huh. All right, let's try that again. For some reason, it didn't want me to delete that. I'll try it one more time. I don't think it's a big deal. There it goes. I don't know why, I just had to refresh that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create one, and in this case I'm going to use, I'm just going to call it sagetest.sagerock.com, and so that's going to be my domain name here, so Sage Test, and then the TTL is, I just do whatever all of them are. I don't really know, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. And then an A record, this, because again, this is an IP address, it's that. And then you can, because we're having them point to this IP address. And so we click this. So now, and you can see here, do you see how it's added a dot on the end? Sometimes it does that by default in my system, but sometimes you have to make sure the dot's added on there. You can, excuse me, you can see all of my domains here have dots added on the end, and this is the tricky part. This is when you do this for your users. This is going to be the hardest part for them. Okay, so now you go down here and you can see sagetest.sagerock.com is an A record that points to my static IP. Okay, and this is going to be the real test of whether or not things worked out. Okay. sagetest.sagerock.com is the new domain. I'm going to make it the primary domain. Okay. All right. Okay. And so now, you see, it did do this. I think I did it backwards. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I'm now at SageRock. I'm at sagetest.sagerock.com. But now I can log in as Sage Lewis. Okay, and there it is. So, and you can see here, you can see now it has both. It has, which do you want as the primary? It says sagetest.sagerock.com, and if I open this in a new tab, here it is, sagetest.sagerock.com. This is Sage's test site. So the thing that we set up in WordPress for domain mapping is now working. I think actually, see, if I go to sagerockplaces.com/sagetest/wp-admin, that I think is now going to redirect. Watch, let's see. Yeah, you see, I set it up backwards. So, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. As long as the mapping works, it kind of doesn't matter, but I'm here to tell you, if the mapping doesn't work, you try to log in and it goes to this subdomain, and if the mapping didn't work, then your whole site is blown up and everybody's freaking, it's a whole big mess. So what you want to do here is, I'm going to log out, I'm going to go back to sagerockplaces.com, wp-admin. Oh, misspelled it. Okay, so here I'm going to log out of this. I'm going to go in as admin, and I'll show you. So now I'm the admin, and I'm back at here. And what I did, what I I did it backwards in the domain mapping options. Redirect administration pages sites to the original domain. I think that's the one I'm going to keep, because now watch this. If I go to SageRock, sagetest.sagerock.com/wp-admin. Okay, watch this. If I do that, it's going to redirect me back. Yeah, it didn't. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if it redirects. Yeah, so it redirects me back to this domain because of domain mapping. All right. And so in the domain mapping options, redirect administration page to the original site's original domain. Again, it's personal preference on there, but for me, I like to have that number 4 box checked, just simply because if something goes wrong, at least they come back to the admin page, you know? And so there's that. Now, the final thing. Are you still there? Been here for an hour. But this is it. This is how you do it, right? So if you've made it this way far, congratulations. Okay. The last thing would be mapping your own domain. And I've been trying to get this set up for you. So like analytical news. So I was going to try and map this domain for you, but I'm having some issues. The changing the DNS at the host is problematic, but I'm here to tell you, if you can do the subdomain thing that I just did, this will work. And so what I think I need to do on this is I use a site called 000domains.com, and what I'm pretty sure I need to do is I need to go into this, and I need to update my name servers to the name servers of the server, I believe, which in my case are these right here, okay? And then what I think I need to do then, is go back to SageRock Places and park a domain, okay? And I would park it here. I would add the domain and park it at SageRock Places, and then finally I would go back to, I would go in here and I would say, site ID is something and the domain is analyticalnews.org, and so I would point it to that site ID, and that should work. I'm sorry I didn't have that set up, but I'm here to tell you, if you can do that subdomain thing, and it's a little bit easier to test doing a subdomain, and really that's what I want to do. I want to have my clients have a main site, and then I want to make them have a blog on a subdomain. So that's for my use. But if you've gotten this far and you've gotten it to work this far, then you are set. You'll be able to do that. It should work out just fine. So that's it, and that's how you do it in just one easy hour. All right, I hope this helped you. This is a super powerful tool that you could use for your clients, for franchises, for distributors. It would be great, like say for example you're a web developer and you want to give your clients blogs. The great thing about it is you're giving them all the tools. You'll make sure that the blog is always updated, backed up, the latest and greatest plugins. It just has everything, as opposed to installing a whole series of WordPress blogs on their sites. Just do it this way so it's all centralized. It has, I think, just great capabilities. Okay, I hope that helped. Have a fantastic day. Oh, and if you get one set up, send me a link down in the comments. I'd love to see it. All right, take care.